Hi, welcome to my channel, Metaturo. Thank you for being here. And today I'm going to talk about the full moon on October the 24th. That's next Wednesday. And it's a big full moon. It's in Taurus and conjunct with Uranus, and also opposed by the sun in Scorpio. And the sun and the moon are both at about 2 degrees. So the sun has just moved into Scorpio, so that's a pretty big change for us. And the conjunction between the moon and Uranus is likely going to be something that all of us feel, in that Uranus rules the nervous system and electricity and sudden realizations and things like revolutionary thought, changes in consciousness. And the moon is our emotional selves, our bodies, or how we feel in the world, how we feel about things. And so the moon tends to pick up on what's happening around it. So with Uranus and the moon kind of walking elbow in elbow, we're certainly going to be feeling those maybe radical shifts to our system, our consciousness. It's a super good day to pay attention, and you may even feel this on Tuesday night and on into Thursday. You'll just that any sudden realization, or how maybe I can do things differently, you might get some new vision of how to change or where you might want to be going. And so the moon and Uranus are opposed by the sun. So, and that adds energy. This is like a battery for us to actually, it can give us some really good insight. It's perfect to be noticing what questions come to mind at this time, because those questions can actually help lead us to interesting answers and new possibilities of everything, really, of how we might want to change or create more evolved lives for ourselves and for others. I work with the Sabian symbols, which is this book in Astrological Mandala. It's one of my favorite astrology books. And the way the symbols work in this system is there are 360 symbols, one for each degree of the zodiac. So, and what you do is you always round up. So if a degree is at one degree, like 12, you just round that up to 2, which is what I did with the degree for the moon in Taurus and the sun in Scorpio. So 2 degrees Taurus is an electrical storm, which is quite a lot what we might say about the full moon in and of itself. It's sort of an electrical storm. It's very charged. Then the 2nd degree for Taurus is so interesting to me. A delicate bottle of perfume lies broken, releasing its perfume. I think there are a few important things we can say about that symbol. First, it says a delicate bottle. So, because it's delicate, we might be feeling some things that are more vulnerable and more emotional for us, things that maybe we haven't wanted to share with other people, or we don't know how to share, or maybe we've shared them, but they're something perhaps more like secrets or things that just aren't normal for us to want to talk about, that we might feel vulnerable about. And then it's a bottle, and the bottle is transparent. So that's another indication of some kind of vulnerability and a sense of intimacy when we share some things that are going on with ourselves. And for everybody, that's different. And then of perfume. So perfume is what's inside. It's maybe the gift. It's maybe the offering. So far in the image, I see us feeling vulnerable about some things that are going on with us, but there might be something that we really have to share with others. It's like our gifts that we have to share with the world. Then it's lies broken. So lies broken, I feel like, means two things. On one hand, there's the breaking, which perhaps is uncomfortable, or we could see that as maybe even something we weren't expecting to happen. You know, we have a bottle of perfume in the bathroom and it falls down and it breaks. So we probably don't want that. That's probably not why we have it at all. We probably have it to wear. So it lies broken, and that maybe on the first level of understanding, maybe that seems bad. But when something's broken, it's also making itself available to, in this case, because it's perfume, the air, and it says releasing its fragrance. So I find it an interesting symbol. On one hand, we might look at a broken bottle and say, oh, that's kind of bad. I didn't really want that to happen. But it's releasing its fragrance. It's sharing it with the world, which I think is so important for the combination of these two symbols. An electrical storm and a delicate bottle of perfume lies broken, releasing its fragrance. So you could see with that combination how there might be some sudden event that creates a realization. There might be something so moving that we're stirred to do something differently. We may be stirred to drop a defense, to be able to share more authentically with other people, our community, organizations that we're involved in, any kind of employment, you know, just our different communities. Another interesting thing about the Sabian symbols is that they move through different segments of a whole entire process. So the whole 360 degrees is seen as an entire process of maybe becoming an actuated human being, a realized human being, as complete as we possibly can. So the electrical storm is in the part of the process called substantiation. And substantiation is getting all the materials together to create the final whole. Substantiation is kind of a gathering. It's also something in the process of becoming mature. So you could say, well, the process isn't done yet, but it's getting there. So another way that I like to think of this part of the process is potential. So the electrical storm, it's presenting a lot of its potential. It's helping us. It's catalyzing events and ideas to move us forward, to become more enlightened people. And then the delicate bottle of perfume is in the communion part of the cycle. So these two symbols together can, on one hand, be a great sharing of what's inside of us that we may not even be sure of. So the sharing itself might be feeling a little bit insecure. However, there is a great gift or many gifts through sharing. So the whole sum total of these two images together reveal a process, and we might not be sure even what we're talking about or thinking or feeling. Earlier in the video, I said it's important at this full moon to be aware of the questions that come to mind, and together what we see is some new ways to create meaning with other people, and this whole dynamic where sharing with others reveals things to us about ourselves more clearly. So it's a great time, and even if you're not with other people, if you're writing or creating songs or music of any other kind, just any sort of creative process, it's a really great time, and it can really help move us forward in our lives. Again, be a little aware of the nervous system at this time. It's good to take a bath or go into the jacuzzi, just to have something to mellow out with. But if you're kind of noticing, paying attention to what's going on, you can have some really strong breakthroughs. So if there's anything that you've really been working on or potentially feeling stuck, it can be a great time to move through. Excuse me. It's also a great time to understand that we don't always have to know. One of the big messages of this full moon is that sometimes it's a great gift in not knowing and setting out to explore and even have a vision of what that outcome might be, or to just feel it or to have some sense. So I would really recommend sharing with others or writing in your journal, swirling around in your favorite dance, just anything creative to help really move forward with the gifts of this full moon. Also, for folks who have experienced any kind of abuse, any kind of sexual abuse, and you're working through those processes, for folks who maybe have and don't quite remember, that can be a really difficult time. So I would suggest that if you're dealing with those kinds of issues, to maybe find someone who you trust, or go seek some counseling or do some writing, and to really know that it's going to be okay. I know that after Christine Blasey Ford really shared and gave testimony publicly to all of us about the sexual assault perpetrated on her, I know that, and also with Venus retrograde, I know a lot of us have been really either revisiting or newly reflecting on sexual abuse topics. So you may want to consider that this full moon is about electricity and realization, and you may just want to make yourself as safe as possible and as comfortable as possible, because it may be true that you encounter some new realizations, some new feelings, things that you feel vulnerable about. And I would just really like to encourage you that it is going to be okay. There are many of us who have experienced these kinds of violations. absolutely doesn't mean that you are a bad person. It means that you were a victim at that time and a survivor now. So I would like to encourage you to be as kind as possible to yourself and understand you may be feeling some new and different things. You may feel a little bit shaken up. Just, but really, sometimes surrounding yourself with like browns and greens can be really grounding. Going out in nature and focusing on your walking can be really good. If you're looking for a grounding stone, obsidian can be really useful. Hematite is also really useful for grounding. And you also taking Epsom salt baths are very, very comforting, and it actually helps move negative energy away. So I know in those processes where you're reliving sexual abuse that's happened to you, there can be these places where it feels like it's not going to get better. And I would like to offer to you that it is going to get better, and you survived. And it's great for you to let your body know that it survived. And definitely reach out and share if you can find a way to do that. I would really, really recommend it. So thank you for watching. Definitely it'd be great if you could subscribe. Feel free to email me, and I will see you next time.